Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs through the Bloody Inn, which is a very dark, kind of sinister, macabre, although very silly and absurd and funny Euro-style card game from first-time designer Nicolas Robert. And I just got to warn you going in, bear in mind this is a dark game where we are nasty people doing terrible things to poor innocents. Certainly people who probably aren't going to deserve what's going to happen to them. Well, we'll see what happens. So I just want to warn you before going in, this is a bit darker subject. I think Sweeney Todd or Throw Mama from the Train. We are bad people doing bad things in the Bloody Inn. So let's get to it. Now, we've already got the game set up here for 2 players. And at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 5 francs, and they also have 10 more francs, kind of in this check form, which is, this is money we have on hand for expenses. This is money we can get, but we have to kind of spend time to liquidize this cash. And let's see, also at the beginning of the game, each of us, we are all members of the same family running the Bloody Inn. And what we do is we have guests check in, but often they don't check out because in the night we murder them, dispose of the bodies, and pocket all the cash they had on their person. That's what we're trying to do, and whoever makes the most money by the end of the game wins. And when we're not killing people, we're bribing them so that they will join our criminal enterprise and help us kill other people and stuff like that. So that's what's going on in the game. Now, this is the inn. In a 2-player game, each player, in any player count, every player has 1 room of the 8 rooms that are in the inn. And then in a 2-player game, there are 3 dummy rooms. So every night, and this game takes place over several nights. Every night, 5 people are going to check into these 5 rooms. And whoever is currently the first player in a given round, they get to choose what rooms they check into. So I'm starting the game, I'm the first player. And so, let's see, I can see the first guest to check in is the mechanic. And I can put him in my room, in Jen's room, or one of the neutral rooms. I'll go ahead and put him in a neutral. Then we've got the cultivator. I will put him in Jen's room, I think, for reasons I will explain in a little bit, because there is some strategy to this first part here. All righty, and then we have a representative. All right, he's a 1. Oh, we have a peacekeeper. All right, so I can see the next one's a peacekeeper. I'll put him up in a neutral room. I'll put this peacekeeper up in a neutral room. Oh my gosh, wow. 2 cops, and we have a brigadier. I'll put him in my room. All right, so that is the dealio. Everybody's checked in, and now the game begins. Everybody's gone to sleep, or at least, they're in their rooms. And here's a little player aid. You can see each player has a player aid. And first thing we do is we welcome guests. Then we start doing phase 2 player actions. This is overnight. There are 5 actions we can choose from, and each of us, both myself and Jen, are going to do 2 actions over the course of the night. The actions are, we can bribe one of these 5 guests to join our criminal enterprise. We can kill one of these guests with the intent of robbing them blind. We can, after we've killed a guest though, we have a corpse on our hand. We can't get the money that the guest had until we bury the corpse. So we have to dispose of the body, and then that's when we can finally get all the points, because every franc, every buck in this game is worth a point at the end. So we can bribe guests to join us, we can kill guests and then bury them to get their money, or we can build an annex. If we have bribed a guest so they join our criminal enterprise, some of these guests, you can see, could then build an annex. They can add on to our inn. This one is, this guy, if I bribe the cultivator to join me, and so he's in on it, he's in on our criminal plots, he could then build a vegetable garden, which would give me a special power for the rest of the game. But by building this vegetable garden, I'm giving up the opportunity to kill him to get 8 points. So would losing those 8 points be worth it to immediately get 1 franc, 1 point, per red annex you've built, including this one. See, this is a red annex. So if I build this, I immediately make 1 buck. But if I bribe the mechanic and build his workshop, I'll have 1 annex. And then if I build this, when I build this, I'll have 2 red annexes. So this will make me 2 bucks. And remember, every point counts. So you can see a lot of these guys have combos. Those are the 4 things you can do with each one of these guests. You can bribe them. Once you've bribed them, you can build an annex. Or alternatively, you could kill them. And once you've killed them, you can bury the corpse. Now, a 5th action is you can pass. You can choose to do nothing on your turn. You get 2 turns per night. But when you pass, you can go to the local money launderers in town and I could trade in this check I've got for 10 bucks to get 10 bucks cash on hand. Or alternatively, if over the course of the game I've made a lot of money, you can't go over 40. This is a hard limit. So if I want to make like 10 bucks, oh no, I'll only make 4 or 3 of it. So I could pass to actually convert my cash into more checks. And so and then that lets me start making more money. Whoever's got the most money at the end of the game wins. So everybody starts with 5. So those are the 5 actions I can do. I'm the first player. What am I going to do? Now, one thing I forgot to mention. At the beginning of the game, everybody already has 2 accomplices. I've got these 2 little peasant children who are going to help me either bribe these people or kill them. Or, once I've bribed them, these peasants are going to help me build whatever the annex is. And these peasant children can also, once I've killed these guests, these peasants can help me bury the body and dispose of the evidence. Now, what am I going to do? Let's see. Well, now here's the interesting thing. This is the Bloody Inn. It's all about, knocking off your guests to take your money. But here's the problem. If you actually, like I said, if I killed this mechanic, I now have a corpse. If I can't dispose of this corpse before the next morning, these cops, the peacekeeper or the brigadier, if either of these 2 characters are still in the inn tomorrow morning after both Jen and I have taken 2 actions, they will find this corpse and then I'll be in big trouble. So I don't want to kill somebody right now unless I can dispose of the body. Now remember, I've got 2 actions. See, so should I go for it? I could do it. You know what? I think I am. I am gonna go for it. Oh, what am I going to do? If I do that, I have another option as well. Okay. Yeah, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. Okay, I've got my 2 accomplices. I'm taking my first action. I am going to bribe this peacekeeper. This cop, this sheriff, whatever, has now joined my criminal gang. Now, whenever you do any action, bribe, build, kill, or bury, any of these 4 actions, you do it with a specific target card in hand. Now, I bribed this guy. You can see he's got a 0. That means to bribe him, or kill him, or bury him, I have to discard 0 cards. The peacekeeper is very easy to take care of. I can basically bribe him with just promises. That's why if I actually killed and buried him, I only make 8 bucks. If I kill and bury the brigadier, who has a 1, and therefore he's tougher to deal with, I'd get 12 bucks, but I'm just going to go ahead and bribe this guy. And since he has a 0, I didn't have to spend any cards to do it. If I had wanted to bribe this brigadier, he has a rank of 1. That means to bribe him, I would have had to discard 1 of my peasant kids, and my criminal network wouldn't be as big. So my first action was I bribed the peacekeeper. He is now on my payroll, and I'll pay him next morning. Okay, now it's Jen's turn. She gets an action. She, like me, starts with 2 peasants, and what is she going to do? I think for starters, she will... Well, it's interesting. So Jen was thinking it'd be great to get this mechanic and this cultivator, because remember, the cultivator, when he makes the vegetable garden, this vegetable garden makes points for however many red annexes you've built. So this is a nice little combo chain here, but the problem is if Jen bribes this guy to be able to build this annex, she's not going to make any money because her room will be empty. Now, what she wants to do is she wants to empty out this room, because then I won't make any money because my room is empty. So I think the first thing Jen is going to do, there's another cop in the shop. Jen is going to murder the brigadier. Now remember, he has a rank of 1. That means Jen has to spend 1 card from her accomplices to either bribe him or kill him. Jen is going to spend 1 of her peasants, and the peasant comes over here to the bistro. They get discarded because the peasant kids, they never go away. When you discard normal cards, they come over here into the guests who have left deck, but the peasants, they come over here to the bistro, so they can still be recruited later because they know there's a good living to be made here. So Jen has to kill the brigadier, which means this guy flips over. He is now a corpse. Jen had to use 1 of her peasants, and now Jen has a corpse on her hand, and she still has 1 peasant. That was her first action. And now Jen is not worried about having a corpse on her hand because there's no cops. I bribed a cop, so he's on the take now. He's not going to report this corpse because he's in it with us. Jen killed the other cop, and by doing that, Jen has fixed it, so I'm not going to make any money because my room is empty. And now it's my turn for my second. And I have to admit, that's kind of a bummer because what I was going to do was, I was actually going to kill this cop myself, so Jen's beat it to him, So what am I going to do now? Well, since there's no cops, I guess I'm going to kill somebody as well. Who do I kill? Let's see. I could kill I guess I'm going to kill this cultivator. But here's the thing. If I kill the cultivator, when I dispose of the body, I'll only make $8. I can make $12 off of either of these guys. But if I kill this guy, Jen's room will be empty. And if I don't, Jen's going to make an extra $1 off that. But I think I'd rather make more money for myself right now. So I am going to kill the mechanic. Because if I get rid of this red card, that means this other red card, which Jen might bribe, it won't do her as much good because I've gotten rid of the only other red annex. So let's see, I'm going to kill this mechanic. All right, now, he is a 1, which means I have to discard 1 card. And now both Jen and I have killed somebody. It's the bloody inn after all. You got to know that going in. So we both have a corpse on our hands. And he was a level 1, so I have to discard a card. Now, like Jen, I could discard one of my peasants and basically lose that card. But instead, I'm going to use my peacekeeper. He's my accomplice that I have used to kill the mechanic. And now here's the interesting thing. You'll notice this peacekeeper, he's got gun icons at the top. That means his specialty is killing people. And whenever you discard a card, normally I would discard him, he would have left, I bribed him, he helped me do a thing, and now he's gone. He's out of my life. But because he's good at killing, I can use him to accomplish a killing action, which I just did, and I don't have to discard him. He stays part of my criminal mind. So Jen, she killed somebody and then ended up losing her accomplice. So now Jen only has 1 helper. Me, I killed somebody, but I got to keep him. So that was that. So that was my second action, and I am done for the night. There's 1 more action. Jen gets to do 1 more. She has 1 more accomplice, so she could use this accomplice to kill this representative. So Jen would have 2 corpses, but nobody on hand. But Jen's got to be worried. Now, there are no cops. And Jen can see 1 of the 5 guests for tomorrow night is not a cop. But if any of the other 4 guests are cops, and Jen has a whole bunch of corpses built up, she's got to be worried about getting rid of the corpses before the cops find them. So what is Jen going to do? Well, whatever she does, she will have to spend her last peasant. If she kills or bribes this representative or she kills or bribes this cultivator, she will lose her peasant. I think what she's going to do is she's going to bribe. Just like I bribed the peacekeeper, Jen is going to pay a peasant to bribe this representative. Right. And, because he has a 1. So Jen has traded up. She got rid of this guy to get this guy. And this guy is particularly good at bribing. If Jen wants to bribe other guests in the future, it will be cheaper for her to do so. So Jen is basically traded up. She didn't kill this guy. She bribed him. And that was it. At the end of the first night, we both killed 1 guest. Both of them are, equal. They're both worth 12 points. I still have a big gang of people, and Jen has a gang of 1. So we are done with the first night. It was a very bloody, gruesome night. And so now, at the end, phase 3, which is the next morning. At the end of the round, first there's police investigation. Then any guests who are still alive leave. And finally, we have to pay wages. All right, so first of all, if there were any cops now, both Jen and I would be in trouble because we would have corpses on our hand. What we would have to do is, if you have a corpse and there's a cop about breathing down your neck, you have to pay $10 to bribe the local gravedigger, and the local gravedigger will take care of the corpse. It will just get rid of it, so the cops won't find it. But the problem is, by having the gravedigger, you never get a chance to get the money. So that's a terrible thing. You want to avoid that if at all possible. You can have as many corpses built up, hidden in closets and cellars and attics, doesn't really matter, but you need to spend time and effort to get these corpses disposed of properly so you can make the money. But if the cops show up, you can always just dump them, but you lose points to do it. So fortunately, there are no cops. 1 got bribed and 1 is dead, so we can skip the police investigation phase. Then the guests leave. This cultivator, he had a lovely night's sleep. Nobody bothered him, and he's just going to check out now. And since he spent the night in Jen's room, Jen just made $1. All right, so Jen ended up with some cash, a little bit more extra cash, and the cultivator says, I'm going to give you a good review on Yelp, and off he goes. He had no idea all the other stuff that happened. And now finally, the last thing we do is we have to pay our wages. I have a group of 3 nefarious cohorts. That means I owe $3. 1, 2, 3. Jen has a hand of 1 card. She owes 1. And that was it. That was the first night at the Bloody Inn. At the end of the night, Jen is ahead by 3 points, but she only has one guy who can help her bribe more people. Me, I am set up to start killing and looting because I've got a big hand, so I can start catching up. And that was the first round. Now we start the second round. Jen will be the first player, and as the first player of the second round, she chooses where the next 5 guests will go. First of all, there's this abbot. And next to him is a novice. They're both religious. Purple is religious, so they work well together. This guy, you need 2 cards to either bump him off or bribe him or build his annex. I think Jen will put him in his own room because that means he's hard to get rid of, and Jen's hoping to make some more money. Jen will go on ahead and put the novice in my room. Oh, she'll put the grocer. Well, the other 3 have to now go in the neutral rooms. There's a grocer, a butcher, and another cop, a major. Either we have to get this guy out of the way by bribing him or killing him, or we have to get rid of our bodies because we don't want to be caught red-handed. That would be very, very expensive to eliminate the evidence. So that's what our second round is looking like. There's a cop breathing down our necks. Jen will be the first player. We each get to 2 actions. And that, folks, was 1 round of the Bloody Inn. And I've just barely scratched the surface. Now, if you'd like, you can hit the little eye up in the top right corner or follow the show notes to go to the extended playthrough where we will start disposing of bodies. We will start bribing people. We will start building annexes. There's a bunch more stuff you can see if you'd like to watch. Or instead, you can go straight to final thoughts. Your choice in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.